Tom Reed and Aaron Portzline here at the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, where the Blue Jackets have suffered their 6th straight loss, Aaron, 4-2 to the Flyers. Behind us down here, they're working on the floor, getting ready for the Sixers game tonight. Aaron, the Blue Jackets have plenty of work to do to get themselves going again, too.
Yeah, for sure. 6 in a row. It's the longest losing streak for them under John Tortorella. It's also the longest losing streak since the start of last season, which is not a time in Blue Jackets history that anybody wants to remember. It's weird. I think a couple games ago it was easy to say, you know, ho-hum, we're just trying to make our way to the playoffs here and nobody wants to get hurt. I get the sense that there's a little bit more frustration. There's the word panic is being said by players now, like we're not panicking or we can't panic. And if they're using that word, it's in there somewhere. John Tortorella was the calmest of people after the game, saying, "I'm not going to judge our team on a game based on the circumstances." He said that numerous times.
Like he was taking the Fifth Amendment.
He was taking his own form of the Fifth Amendment.
Right.
He's trying to say, it's just, you know, we have nothing to play for, so this is what you look at. And I don't know if we believe that. The players feel like tomorrow's game in Toronto is big for them. Throw away the result. They want to get back to playing their style of hockey, which has been missing for a while now.
Aaron, I think one of the things that one of the more things that a week ago, we could say, well, right now it's the only problem they have is they're not scoring, which of course is a big problem.
For sure.
But the rest of their game was pretty solid.
Yep.
Their penalty killing was solid. Their defense was solid. Bob was very good.
Yeah.
Today, again, was another example of we saw things. None of that was very solid. Bob really wasn't very good today. No. Defensively, they seem to lose their structure.
2 power play goals allowed?
1 today, maybe a couple against Winnipeg.
Okay.
But these are not good signs for this team because what it's saying is that these problems are starting to multiply. It's not just one finger in the dike type of thing. It's holes are springing up elsewhere. I don't know what you can do in one game, or again, if they just needed to win a game to feel good about themselves. Your thoughts there?
Well, Seth Jones was saying today, he thinks they gave up 20 scoring chances today to the Flyers. And this is not a team that you fear offensively. They've been fairly limited that way. That's not good. This center ice, they've basically turned over center ice to the opponent. And the Blue Jackets, they're not a flashy team down the middle. They're a really competitive team down the middle. They usually make that a difficult place for opponents to play. Yeah, Bob, it's 4 losses in a row now for Bob. He went from February, I want to say 19th, until the end of March without a regulation loss. And now he's had 4 in his last 4 outings. So yeah, he's struggling. I can't think of any like specifically bad goals allowed today, but he wasn't the best player on the ice. Actually, probably you could say outplayed at his position by Steve Mason, who maybe was playing his final game as a Flyer. Yeah. Probably not. His 200th win, by the way, today, Steve Mason. So yeah, it's the fear, as John Tortorella said right when this sort of lull started, was you don't want it to creep into other parts of your game. And I think that's part of the struggle and part of the concern here is that it has now bled into the other parts of their game.
I think that's true. One other point, Cam Atkinson, the team's leading goal scorer, benched over the final 13 minutes of the game, had a turnover at that point. Interesting comments from John Tortorella regarding when we asked him, you know, was it that turnover, and what did he say?
Paraphrasing here, but he basically said he wanted to get Cam off the ice because of being on the ice was not helping him. Right. That he was trying to save him by taking him out of the ice. Now you could hear that a couple different ways. Trying to save him from himself, or we're just trying to save him because we've got a back-to-back tomorrow and playoffs starting most likely on Wednesday. So tomorrow night's game is going to has potential to be massive on a lot of different levels. Toronto, depending on what happens tonight, may need a win in that game to qualify for the playoffs, which looked like a foregone conclusion just a few days ago. If you recall, Columbus felt like they got jumped and housed by the Leafs in Nationwide a couple of weeks back. So this game sort of has been circled on their internal calendar for a couple of weeks. So it could be a very interesting finale. Both teams desperate to do something.
One bit of good news today after all this bad news was the team today kind of came out, the 2 main people, John Tortorella and we talked to Jarmo Kekalainen. They feel confident, or they believe that Zach Werenski will be back for the playoffs against the Penguins, which are going to either start Wednesday or Thursday. What do you feel? You think that's the case?
Well, it's a club that needs good news. John Tortorella said totally confident. Yeah. Totally. Jarmo Kekalainen said, I think that is the case. I guess it's too. Jarmo's much more understated than
he always is.
Tortorella.
He always is anyway, right?
Yeah. So there's that. But that does seem to be the prediction. They said when he went out, they were given a diagnosis of a week and a half to 2 weeks. That was not relayed to us at the time, obviously, or we would have passed it along. But there was a concern: how bad is it? How long is he out? Is he going to be back? I don't think he plays tomorrow. I'm not getting that sense.
No, I wouldn't think so.
He was on the ice today, though, with assistant coach Kenny McCudden, and he's skated before this, apparently. So that's really good news and a very important piece to all of this, that they could use some good news. They could use a little bounce back here. And it looks like Werenski is going to be back.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow night from Toronto, where the Blue Jackets will end the regular season against the Leafs, the final tune-up for the playoffs. For Aaron Portzline, Tom Reed, hit the button, Aaron.